Hello everyone, it's Gary letting you know what I'm up to. Anyway, as you can see here, this looks like just a piece of ground that's got some sawdust over the top of it. And yesterday, my legs are still hurting. We spent so much time, my wife and I, on the ground after I'd rototilled the ground, and it's basically the last week of April. And we're gonna get some colder weather and stuff like that. But yesterday was a really bright, sunny day. And so I knew the rain would be coming today. So what we spent the time to do was plant all my onion bulbs. And we got that all accomplished. And now it's gonna rain for a couple of days, which is gonna moisture the ground really well. But then we're gonna get some drier weather. And because I put the sawdust down over the top of the soil, sorry, I'm passing my fingers through because I like talking with my hands. Now that sawdust is going to hold moisture, and as my onions grow, and the worms that are in the ground naturally are going to bring the sawdust down and compost it, I'm also going to feed my plants. And over here you can see I made these tiny little hoop houses that I put handles on them that you can lift up with your hands. And I started that probably a month ago, and even I left some of them in the ground over the winter, covering up leftover vegetables. And those vegetables didn't freeze, but they're regrowing now, and I get fresh greens from there. And at the same time, you know me from the video Free Living 101, where I was teaching wild plants and natural medicine, which I grew up on. Being native to Canada and growing up in Northern Ontario, my grandmother and my mother started teaching me. So right now, you see, I'm looking around in the garden as well, and I'm spotting all kinds of different plants that are starting to grow. And for example, there's this thistle right here, which most people would never know. It's a great food source, and you can't eat the thistle, but the root in this thing is excellent. So, these are the kind of things that you learn over time, and there's no instant fix. But because I'm teaching people and I want you to learn, and I have people come and study with me, I want you to learn so that people are concerned about, tariffs and economic policies and all this kind of stuff. But from having a plot of land, and it does not have to be very big, because I started doing most of the stuff I'm doing today in my house in Etobicoke in the backyard, and eventually from the money you save from growing your own food. And I didn't waste that money on junk. I put that money into savings and capitalized and running my automotive business. And then eventually I bought more land. And now I have a farm. I have a specialized greenhouse, not very big, but it's an amazing little tool. You don't need a lot of space to do this type of thing. You use good technology, then you get to see results. And so, for example, over here on the ground, I'm planning, I put some extra sawdust down there, and I'm going to rototill this after the rain. And I've got a hoop house that I've designed, double the size of these, and it's going to go over this patch of ground. And I'm going to put certain plants in there, small plants, and it's going to give it an advantage in the colder weather. And it's just going to start to really grow because it's got the heat and it's self-watering. You don't really have to water these things, because in the springtime, when you have moisture already in the ground, even on a day like today, if I focus in on this, you can see the moisture inside. And so these are all things you can do. Not complicated, not expensive, but the average person in Canada, and I'm pretty sure it's the same way in the United States, spends approximately $15,000 plus a year on food that's totally unhealthy, junk. And you can really change your life around very simply by doing stuff for yourself. And don't tell me that to do this is a lot of work. If you've got time to sit and watch a movie, and I'm not against that, if it's a good movie, or read a book, I'm not against that either, but you can spend 15 minutes to an hour a few times a week putting stuff into making things and helping yourself grow a food supply that is going to make sure you and your family are much healthier than you've ever been. And I'll tell you, you might think it's not going to add up to dollars and cents, but it certainly will. And I can say, because I've advertised this on the internet before, that my food bill for my family for years and years and years was $30 a week or less when my two daughters were small, living at my house, and they love to eat, you know, so do I. And we never basically lacked anything. So, hope you enjoyed this little video. And, you know, we do things like, you know, in the garden right now, you know, we're cleaning up, organizing stuff, cleaning up, and we'll be doing more. And I'll show you in the future more things that I'm doing. Anyway, when I get up in the morning, you can see this is my horizon, the type of view I got. So I'm wishing that every one of you out there can do the same. And if you want to learn, give me a call, 416-709-3535. I'll be glad to give you any kind of advice. Not looking for anything. Text me. I'll be glad to help you. Have a nice day.